We've experienced two big fires in the flood. The fire named Calwood Fire started there. We saw the smoke in it within a couple hours, headed that way, and then it took out a bunch of houses down by 36, and so that scared us, but actually it wasn't as dangerous as the one that came right up to the edge of town. I took like 2 dogs, 3 kids, not my own, one of my own, my cello, the photographs, and took my daughter to a dentist appointment, and then in South Boulder watched the fire plume just explode at some point. You know, at one point somebody said, oh, the post office has been burned out, which is just down the hill from me, so I'm gone. But man, that really sobers you up to be evacuated and see that kind of smoke coming up. Whew. I mean, this town's been here a while. There's always been tons of volunteers. I'm the ditch rider. And when you see the amount of physical work that these people have done throughout, I don't know, 5 or 6 generations now, to keep things going, you're really kind of humbled. And you think, well, I got to do my bit for the future. And this place will be here if it doesn't burn out.
This is a wildfire ecology. This entire state is a wildfire ecology. And because of our efforts to protect property and life, what's happened is a lot of these areas have become overgrown. And as a result of becoming overgrown, the forests have become unhealthy.
I mean, I had people when I started who said, oh, it's just, we've been meddling in all of this, and we just need to let the forest restore itself. And I said, well, yeah, that's true, and it will. And that fire will come through and burn every house in town. And in another 100 years, the forest, if we don't suppress fires, the forest will be healthy again. But that's not going to work for the community.
We need to get in there and do a substantial amount of work. We've proven it to be successful on a number of occasions. Any place where they've done the aerial fuels mitigation, the materials removal, and then the low-intensity surface burns, when there are wildland fires that push through those forests, the forests remain healthy and survive the fire.
In talking to Chris, we talked about how a strategic area, the windward side of town, would be invaluable.
Essentially what we've tried to do is to create a shape that we like to refer to as a catcher's mitt. And the idea is that it creates a pocket where there's a lot of mitigation that has been done. What it's going to do is it's going to hopefully allow the firefighters to get on the ground right up next to the fire when the fire is moving into the community. So the idea is to be able to bring the fire out of the trees back down to the ground, and then to be able to either catch it in the mitt, or if it does start moving into the community, it's not as intense, so that the firefighters can actually move the fire around the structures and protect the structures and reduce the threat of suburban conflagration.
I had looked at all these different ways of paying for it, and I had just hammered on every single door I could find. We were stuck.
The Watershed Center is the lead coordinating entity of the St. Vrain Forest Health Partnership. So the large group of over 200 stakeholders, basically anyone who owns or manages land in the St. Vrain watershed is going to be part of that partnership, and we work together to increase the pace and scale of forest restoration. When Alan came to us through the lens of the partnership and said, you know, I have these landowners on board, I really want to make something happen, and I'm having trouble finding the resources to get it done, we were able to work with our partners, such as the St. Vrain and Left Hand Water Conservancy District, to fill in those resource gaps. What was the feeling you got when I called you and told you we got funding for it?
Well, I didn't break anything, but I jumped up and down for quite a long time. Yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah, I went from really pretty despairing. Here comes another fire season. Every fire season has had at least a month of the next time there's smoke, here we go. I mean, we had 2 years ago 2 fires that could have taken us out if they hadn't killed them. So it was like, I was ecstatic, still am.
So the Jamestown project was brought to us by Left Hand Watershed Center with an opportunity to utilize the recently approved funding by our local taxpayers. So back in 2020, the voters agreed to increase their property taxes for things that improve the water situation, including projects that would mitigate fire damage to water supplies. The location we're standing right now is along St. Vrain Creek, and it has a lot of significance to the question around rivers, creeks, water supplies, and forest health. And this location is upstream and downstream of domestic water supplies where cities take water for human beings. The river really connects us all. It connects what goes on upstream in the forest, connects downstream, and how we divert and use water downstream affects the quality of life upstream. So St. Vrain Left Hand Water Conservancy District having a mission in all things water, it was really a seamless conversation for us to have to say, how do we protect forests? Those hot fires create a hardscape on the floor. And the next year, when snow comes down and rain comes down, it carries all of that ash and burn scar down into the waterways.
And so we want to act as that disturbance, remove some of those understory trees so that when fire does come to this landscape, it's not going to cause excessive tree death, sediment inputs into our water resources, and risk to life and property. I've been conducting outreach and coordination with 40 plus landowners in this area to really talk through how we can meet our collective goals, and then worked with the Boulder Valley and Longmont Conservation District to develop that forest management plan, which they wrote. You know, on a personal level, it was really tough for me to start cutting trees. I cried when I saw my first tree fall when I was a kid in Oregon, and I, spent almost every waking hour outside under trees, and that was my safe place, my home. And so, when I'm talking to landowners who feel that way about their property, I can really empathize with that. It's really tough to have this sanctuary of trees, densely hugging you and around you, and they feel like they're protecting you. To move towards understanding that this isn't what's best for the trees, for the forest. A forester that we work with says it best, we're not saving the tree, we're saving the forest. And in order to save the forest, we're gonna have to make some hard choices about cutting some trees. I have a lot of scratches from this project. Ow. I think when we're first do property tours with landowners, in or out of Jamestown, they often are nervous that we are going to want to cut every tree, that we want to do a clear cut. Because, I think that's the understanding, is that that's the only thing that'll make their house safer. But really, we're trying to just create that fire adapted system. So we can leave pretty big ponderosas pretty close to their house because those trees are fire adapted. What we want to do is remove the small trees that are going to act as those ladder fuels. So this is a Douglas fir, and it's growing up in the understory underneath, these larger ponderosas. And so we are removing these smaller guys because they're acting as ladder fuels. They're not adapted to wildfire in the same way that ponderosa pines are. Removing this will not only help to reduce risk to the home, but also to the beautiful old growth ponderosas that live around it. One of the things that we're trying to do is make it so that the canopy isn't fully interconnected, because then that's when you get those high severity fires that just run across the whole crown of the forest canopy. And so we want to break apart that canopy, restore those groups of 2 to 8 ponderosas, which has meadows in between, which is our historical forest characteristic at this elevation. I do feel a little sorry for every tree that I give the hug of death to. But then I look right next to me and I see an old growth ponderosa and somebody's home that taking this tree out will help to save. Do you have any fear about what your property will look like after?
It'll be a lot more exposed. I'm a very private person, and I'm going to feel exposed in there, and I'm going to feel exposed looking at it. But that's just what you're habituated to. And often people, and I've experienced this, often when the trees are gone, at first you're shocked, and then after a while you think, oh, no, this is nice. And I can, look, the geraniums are coming, you know, and the bushes are coming, and the birds are around. And so it's just something you got to get used to. I mean, look, this has only been a couple years. Look at all of the ground cover and insect flowers there are here as compared to there. This is where we stopped. And this is just a few years, so. You'll see a lot more yarrow. You'll see a lot more geraniums. You know, I said, well, how could I ask other people to do it if I don't do it myself? But I will feel good. I will feel like I've helped. You know, upslope people, whatever comes up the hill towards them will be a lot less intense.
I think what's been really inspiring about this project is that, you know, I've heard many people say, my neighbor is never going to be on board to cut their trees. But what I often have seen is that it's that folks need the resources and that community rallying in order to feel like they can make a difference. This is expensive work if you don't have enough resources to be able to cut your trees by yourself. It's tough to feel like you can make a difference, and I think this project has been an incredible example of people's openness and willingness to accept that potentially their vision for their forest isn't what's healthiest for that forest or safest for their community. And I've seen people compromise so much and work through that change that is really difficult to be the best steward that they can be and the best community member that they can be. And that has been incredibly beautiful.
The community actually came together. That's a good thing. You know, it's really important. It's pretty rare, especially in the mountains, because people move to the mountains because they want their space and they want to do things their way. So it's really neat when a majority of the community comes together and says, hey, we really want to do this and we're going to make it happen.
To now see that the attitudes are starting to shift is giving me a lot of hope. And I think once this large group of properties gets mitigated, it's going to really, things are going to have a lot of momentum. There's going to be a noticeable uptick in sense of community and cohesion just in that. There is a momentum that builds. The positive energy now predominates. Yeah, I know this is an absolute miracle. I hope this becomes a model for work along the Front Range.